Well, today I'm going to do something a little different. I'm with Doug Sturdivant from the Battle Creek Regional History Museum. You're one of the directors here, Doug?
I am the chairman of the board.
Absolutely. So we have the man himself, chairman of the board here, and he's going to walk us through some of the historic artifacts at the Battle Creek Regional History Museum. So come along, this is going to be fun.
Welcome. I'd like to welcome you to the Battle Creek Regional History Museum. We're located at 307 West Jackson Street in downtown Battle Creek, zip code 49037. We're currently open on weekends, on Saturdays from 10 to 5, and Sundays from noon to 5. Glad to have you visit us on this cold winter day.
It should be fun. Well, let's see some stuff that's going to be in the future exhibit as they remodel it. I'm going to also show you some of the renovations that are underway. So let's get started.
Originally, there used to be over 80 cereal companies located here in Battle Creek. It really finished with the big three, and of course the first one I'm sure you all recognize is Kellogg Company. Here's Tony welcoming you to the Battle Creek Regional History Museum. Again, over 80 cereal companies at some point in time in Battle Creek, and it finished with three major cereal companies. Kellogg's, of course, I think everyone has heard of. Post Cereals, which was the second one I'm sure everyone has heard of, and Ralston Purina, which is the third major cereal company that was in Battle Creek. Unfortunately, we're currently down to just two cereal companies at this point in time, Kellogg's and Post Cereals. Ralston Purina was purchased by Treehouse, and it did close a couple of years ago. This is the Kellogg House, which is located in downtown Battle Creek behind the W.K. Kellogg Foundation. This is W.K.'s home when he lived in the city, and as you can see, we have a display of what it actually looked like inside of the W.K. Kellogg home. This home used to be open for tours at some point in time, but the foundation currently just has closed the tours, but they still show the house, and you can stop by and see it at any point in time. This replica was done at the Old Burnham Brook by some carpenters who did over 1,500 hours in putting this together. Item here is called a copper kettle, and this is the first syrup seasoning for cornflakes that was used at the Kellogg factory. And again, we have this antiquated antique and replica, which is a really nice indicator of what Kellogg's did in flavoring the cornflakes. Okay, this artifact represents a permanent machine that was invented in 1905, and believe it or not, this is what women went through to get a permanent on their hair during that point in time. As you can see, it has quite a few connections for air, coloring, and heat and control. And this is the dryer that the women used to use to dry their hair after it had been set in this firm machine. Here we have the striker bed. This was invented by Homer Stryker. Homer was born and raised in Athens, Michigan. And the striker bed was built back in 1959, and it was first purchased by the federal government to be used during World War II. Again, you all may have heard of Stryker Company in Kalamazoo, and we just are so fortunate to have one of the first striker beds that was made with the Stryker Company. Here we have some wheelchairs that were made here at the Battle Creek Equipment Company building. This soldier represents Percy Hospital, which was located in Battle Creek, Michigan. Here we have a soldier that represents World War I. It was Eddie Rickenbacker, and he was a flight surgeon, which was here in Battle Creek. Here we have some old radios that are also located here in the museum. This happens to be an old Philco radio, and at that time it gave you instructions on how you were to use this radio and all the ins and outs of it. Here we have an old Victrola that was used, and we're going to see if we can get this to play a little bit of music for you. This controls the sound in and out, and they used to store the records here in the bottom. Thing that used to be here that's just kind of neat that we have that on trade. Here's another antique radio that we currently have also at the museum, and these will be used when we talk about early manufacturing. Here we have a representation of the Michigan Air National Guard. This year is the 75th anniversary of the Michigan Air National Guard, and the two planes that the Michigan Air National Guard was really noted for were the A-10 Warthog and the C-21A cargo plane. Here's a picture of the first Michigan Air National Guard plane, and as you can see, it changed quite a bit. Here we talk about Albion, Michigan. We deal a lot with the Albion College, with the professors that help us work with collections and categorizing antique material here at the museum. Okay, here's the equipment that was manufactured here at the Battle Creek Equipment Company. This actually works. This is what they call a vibrating chair. And at the time it was thought that this was really good for the nervous and circulatory system, that it would really shake the disease out of the body. This one has a hand vibrator, the actual chair vibrates, and it has a foot vibrator. And it was refurbished by the owner of the Battle Creek Equipment Company, John Doty, and he presented this to the museum for one of our artifacts. Here we have what we call the waist circular shaking machine. This is a machine that people used to stand in here, and it would literally shake you, so it was here because it was supposed to reduce some of this fat around the middle, but I'm not quite sure how that worked. This one is, you'll probably see this in gymnasiums today, and this is a massage machine. And you roll it on your back, and it's supposed to relieve the stress in your back, and this is one of the things that was also made here at the Battle Creek Equipment Company. This is the Sojourner Truth Maquette, and this is an example of what you'll see in downtown Battle Creek at our Monument Park. They have a statue there that depicts Sojourner Truth, and this is the maquette. This is on loan to us from the Historical Society of Battle Creek. Welcome to the Sojourner Truth Conference Room. Here we have a lot of artifacts about Sojourner Truth. These artifacts belong to Tommy McLeacher, who's a fifth generation descendant of Sojourner Truth. And he's allowed us to have these artifacts here on the conference room at the Battle Creek Regional History Museum. To begin with, I'd like to start with what we call Friends of Sojourner Truth. She was an abolitionist, a suffragist, as you know, and she had a lot of people that helped her along her way as she did important things throughout history. Probably her closest friend was Frances Titus, and she was like Sojourner Truth's secretary, was Sojourner Truth financier, was the person who worked with her speeches and traveled with Sojourner Truth. Here we have a couple books regarding Sojourner Truth. This one was written by Murray Butler, and this one by Joan Sturdivant. As we move around the museum, you see here that Sojourner Truth's original name was Isabella Baumfried, and she changed that name to Sojourner Truth in 1843 after she received a vision from God. In the beginning, Sojourner Truth was born in upstate New York, or Ulster, New York, as they say. Here are some of the homes that she lived in, which looked pretty good. She didn't read and she didn't write. She spoke Dutch. She was raised by Dutch people when she was in New York. She left and walked away from slavery after her owner had promised to free her and didn't. At the time, she walked to another Quaker's house who purchased her, and therefore she was saved from going back to the owner that she had. These artifacts basically tell the story of Sojourner Truth. She came to Battle Creek in 1879, and that's where she was made famous here in Battle Creek. She worked with the Quakers here, and she continued to do speeches and travel throughout the United States. She did at some point in time in her life also meet Abraham Lincoln. She was invited to the White House, or basically went to the White House and signed up to meet President Lincoln, and he did in fact see her. Again, Sojourner Truth has been honored throughout this country. There was a stamp made of Sojourner Truth. We currently have that here in the room, and different artifacts that we sell regarding Sojourner Truth. And these are made by Tommy McLeachy, who is the 5th generation descendant of Sojourner Truth. He is an artist, and as you can see, what he's done here is really great replicas of Sojourner Truth's life.
Well, thank you, Doug, for this wonderful tour of the museum, and obviously we have a lot more to go with the renovations and stuff. Anything you want to say in closing?
I'd just like to welcome you to come to the museum and see a lot of these artifacts in person. There are a lot of things that you didn't see that we currently have on exhibit, and I'm sure we would be glad to have you here to visit us.
Well, that's going to do it for today's episode. If you guys liked the video, please take a minute to hit the like button, subscribe to the channel, and share this video with others so people can find out about the Battle Creek Regional History Museum. I'm also going to put some links down at the bottom of this video where you can find out more about it, and also where you can donate to the museum and help us out in getting the museum funded and more of these exhibits available to the public. Thanks for watching.
Thank you.